about the letters. How do you do like 5, and I'm going to do a capital B because my little b's look like 6's. 5b minus 3b. Well, number one, you can't put letters in your calculator. You can only put numbers in the calculator. Now, y'all, what if I said, what is 5 bumblebees minus 3 bumblebees? Here's your answer.
Nah, it was not. It's tripping. All right.
I'm going to give you longer ones in just a minute. Let's look at this one. Because it wasn't tripping like that little, was it?
Nah, that thing was like crazy.
Look at that one. 3a plus 4b plus 7a minus 2b plus c.
You want to do the like terms?
All high school language is coming back. Collect the like terms. When you clean up the house, when you're in your house, you put the dirty clothes together, you put the kids' toys together, you put the dirty dishes together. So in this problem, we're going to put the apples together, the carrots together, but the bananas together. So in this problem, my apple goes with my apple. So when I put my apples together, it's going to be 3 apples plus 7 apples. Let me pull it down so you can see it better. If I cover this up, see how it's 3 plus 7? That's riding dirty with that. 3 plus 7 is going to give me how many apples?
10.
So I'm going to have 10 apples. So when I do my banana problem, what can I do my banana problem? So what do I write? 4 bananas minus 2 bananas. Because this is a positive 4, because that's attached to that. So 4 bananas minus 2 bananas is going to give me 2 bananas. But I have to attach the answers like a choo-choo train. So because my answer is 2, I put positive 2 bananas to attach them, because that's a positive answer. Now, this is my only carrots.
So that's your answer.
That's your answer, because you can't have an apple banana or a banana carrot or an apple carrot. So you don't want to put your dirty dishes with your dirty laundry.
So how do you do that since you can't type in letters?
You can.
You can?
Oh.
So when you go into the little Alex, you're going to type in 10a plus 2b plus c. Now, if there's not supposed to be letters in the answer,
It won't let you do it.
it won't let you do it. But if there's supposed to be letters in the answer, it'll let you put them. I got you, boo. All right. Now, somebody asked me earlier they had a problem like C more than 3. You gonna cue yourself. Watch this.
Yeah. Wow.
If I ate 3 more cookies than you did, I ate whatever you ate plus 3. They want you to turn an English sentence into a mathematical sentence. So if I said x divided by 2, that's all they want. Or you could get fancy and write it like that. That's what they want. They want you to turn an English word sentence into a mathematical sentence. Hold on, let me go back up here. Okay, the negative. On your calculator, there is a difference between a subtraction button and a negative button. Here is the negative button. Here is your subtraction button. So if you're typing in this problem, this is a negative. This is a subtraction. This is a negative. So when I type it in, it is going to be -6 subtract 5 plus -4. There's my answer. The negative button is at the bottom, the subtraction button is up here. There's a difference between the two. And if you try to type the wrong one in, so like if I would have typed -6, -5, and hit enter, it's gonna tell me I have an error. And if I go down to go to, it's gonna highlight and say this is the one I don't like. Good? All right. I'm gonna get to area in just a minute. Let me move that down for a second. A couple of us are still struggling with mixed numbers. Remember, if you have a plain fraction, you just wrap it up. If you have a mixed number, it's the whole number plus the fraction wrapped up. And to get a mixed number answer, you subtract the whole number, and then you math enter the change. So the answer to this problem is going to be 1 4/5. 1 4/5. But the mixed number is going to be whole number plus fraction wrapped up. Cool? We're going to go over rounding some more today, but I had somebody ask me yesterday, how do you change a fraction into a rounded decimal? So if you have a fraction, you just type it in, 2 divided by 9. That turns it into a decimal. And then to round a decimal, you have to know the places. Tenths place, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So if I want to round it to the hundredths is going to be the second place behind the decimal. And when you round, the behind number, if it is 0 to 4, your underline is going to stay the same. If your behind number is 5 to 9, your underline is going to go up. So whatever's behind is going to tell that underline what to do. So if this number is 0 to 4, he's going to stay the same. If this number is 5 to 9, he's going to go up. So he determines what he does. It's like a wingman when you're out at a bar. He's going to tell you what to do. So because he's between 0 and 4, he's going to stay the same. So the red number stays the same. So our red number stays the same. Everything in front remains. Everything behind turns to zeros. Cool? We're going to do some more rounding in just a minute. Rounding is something you either get really easy or you struggle with. We're going to practice that. Let's see what else. Didn't have anything else. Oh, here's another entering into your calculator. What is this one? A subtract or a negative?
Negative.
Negative. What is this one? Negative. So if I was doing this in my calculator, it would be -5 times parentheses -2 divided by 3. And then I would math enter, or I would subtract the dollars according to how they want it. But both of those are going to be negative. All right.
I had a question.
Yes.
So whenever you went back to that one, the negative, is it gonna be in the middle of the fraction, or is it gonna be at the top or the bottom?
When you have a fraction, it's usually going to be in the middle. When a typewriter does it, a typewriter, like when I write it like -5. A typewriter really can't write it up high like I do. So a typewriter has a hard time writing the difference between a negative and a subtraction. So what a typewriter does is it wraps it up so that you know that this is 6 subtract -5. So I tend to put it up high, but the book may not, or the computer may not.
Okay.
So the way that you know the difference, a subtraction sign holds two things together. So if you have something subtract something, a negative rides dirty. A negative is holding on to something. See see how this is holding on to that? But this is holding those two things together. This is holding on to that. And this is holding on to that. So these are both gonna be a negative. And then this would be an addition sign. So a subtraction is when you're holding two things together. A negative is when it's attached to a number.
Okay.
Does that make sense? All right, I had somebody have one of these yesterday, or on their assessment yesterday. You may or may not have seen these. Okay? Pythagorean theorem. Do we remember old Pythagoras?
No.
What does the Pythagorean theorem say?
A squared plus B
B
squared
equals
C squared.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared. This is on your formula sheet. Some of you may or may not have used it or may not have seen it. But it doesn't tell you how to use it. It just says A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
And you gotta like find the height or something, maybe?
Oh.
The height.
What you have to know is the C. The C is located across from the right angle. So your C is called your hypotenuse. Your C is your diagonal side across from your right angle. So in this problem, my C is going to be 23. Your A and B, I don't care which one you call what. So my A, I'm going to call X. My B, I'm going to call 22. But my C has to be 23. I go to my calculator. I figure out 22 squared, and then I do 23 squared. So 22 squared is 484. 23 squared is 529. Now, my goal is to find the missing side, and that's what the directions are going to say. Find the missing side. Find X. So, my goal is to solve for X, so I have to get X alone, which means I need to move the 484. How do I get the 484 to the other side?
Sure.
Love y'all. This is my so stinking smart. I've got to subtract, because if you have $484, you've got to take it away to make it disappear. So on the front side, I'm left with X squared. On the back side, I go to my calculator and I'm going to do 529 minus 484, and that's going to give me 45. I'm not done, y'all. X squared equals 45. I don't want to know what X squared is, I want to know what X is. So how do I get X?
Square root.
Perfect. To get rid of an X squared, you take the square root. The square root gets rid of a square. On your calculator, the square root button is right here. It's right above the squared button. Mine is in blue, so I hit the blue button and then the squared button. That gives me the square root of 45. So X is going to be 6.7 or whatever they tell me to round it to. And they're on the same button, not just as a coincidence, but the square root and the square undo each other. That's why they're on the same button.
Now, is this the same problem? 'Cause I didn't see anything on the thing about asking for this particular, it just said find the value of X.
That's this problem. And in order to be Pythagorean, it has to have a right angle.
Okay.
But it'll say find the value of X.
So it doesn't matter as long as it got a right angle, you do the same thing.
Correct.
'Cause I had one that was kinda like that, but.
Now here's a different kind of problem, and it'll say like solve for X. Now for this one, again, you have to find C. So which one is C in this problem?
Yes.
Well, let,
You see right here that my C is my X? I just flip-flopped it, I turned it cattywampus. So my C is my X. My A and my B doesn't matter, as long as my C is my X. 11 squared is 121, 12 squared is 144. Now, this one is different than the last one. The last one, do you see that X and 484 same side, and I had to move the 484 to get X alone. Here, do you see that X is already alone? So I don't have to move anything. I have to just clean it up. See the difference? The other one I had to subtract to get X by itself. This one, X is already by itself. But what do I have to do now?
Square root.
Square root it. So for this one, it's going to be the square root of 265. What is that rounded to the nearest tenth?
28.
Which digit is in the tenth space? What number's in the tenth space?
6.3.
The 7 tells the 2 to go up to a 3, 16.3.
Wow.
Yay? 16.3.
What if you have a triangle, something like that, and they got a line all the way out to the end with a number on the line?
Oh,
That's
those
what
are
I'm-
good. Those are angles. Now, this one is talking about sides.
Okay.
The one you're talking about is talking about angles.
Okay.
We'll talk about that one too. What you're talking about is one that looks like this. I love these. Love these. Let's do 140, and this will say solve for X. Ugh,
Wait.
You're so excited.
I am. These are like blood. Now, for these, you have to know a couple rules. First of all, what we were doing before, we were talking about the sides of a triangle, like this side, this side, this side. Now we're talking about the angles, which is like in here. Now, a couple things you need to know, and I actually have them written on the formula sheet. Let me pull up my formula sheet for a second and show you. Formula sheet is right. Oop. Almost.
That's good.
Stop yelling at me. Formula sheet. Okay, on the back side of the formula sheet where you have all your other stuff about area and perimeter and all that stuff, I have some stuff over here. And that's the stuff that we're going to talk about to do what we are going to do with these angles. A couple of things that you need to know in order to do this. This one says that any type of triangle you have, if you add up those three angles, it's always going to equal 180 degrees. So angle A plus angle B plus angle C always equals 180 degrees as long as you have a triangle. That's just a rule. That's just one of those things, you gotta suck it up. Don't ask me why, just know that it happens. So for this one, this plus this plus this is gonna equal 180 degrees. So if I call that 1, that 2, and that 3, angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 is gonna equal 180 degrees, just because Ms. Cooper said so. Now, complementary angles. Complementary angles are angles that make a corner. So the C for complementary means it makes a corner. So if I have two angles that make a corner, that means they add up to 90 degrees. So if this is 40, that means that one has to be 50 because we know that the corner of a sheet of paper is how many degrees? 90. So those are called complementary because they make a corner. So if this one's 20, that one has to be 70. Okay? Supplementary angles, the S in supplementary means it makes a straight line. How many degrees are in a straight line? How many degrees are in a straight line?
180.
Okay, well, how many degrees are in this?
90.
So how many degrees are in this? So if there's 90 degrees this way, and there's 90 degrees that way, there's 180 degrees in a straight line. Watch. There's 90 degrees that way, and there's 90 degrees that way. So there's 180 degrees in a straight line. So if I have a straight line, and this one is 100 degrees, that one's got to be 80 degrees. So supplementary means they have to make a straight line, which always equals 180 degrees. And vertical angles are what I call butterfly angles. Butterfly angles are when you have two angles, and when you fold them, this angle and this angle are exactly the same, like butterfly wings. They're identical, they're symmetric. So if I fold my piece of paper right here, do you see that this angle and this angle are the same? So I draw a little butterfly just to show you that they're the same. And if I fold my paper this way, can you see that the top angle and the bottom angle are the same? Those are called vertical angles. Okay? So, with all those rules said, let's go back to my picture. Do we see a triangle? So do we agree that this plus this plus this is 180?
Yes.
Do we also see supplementary?
Yes.
That these two have to add up to what?
180.
So if this one is 140, what is this one?
40.
40. So if this one is 140, this one has to be 40 because they're supplementary. Now, when I put this hooky rookie right here, what does that tell me? It's 90. So angle 1 is 90. Angle 2 is 40. And we're trying to find angle 3. And they all have to equal 180. So if I do 90 plus 40 and 180 minus 130, my bad, 180 minus 130, what is my missing angle?
50.
I have a sign on my desk that says WTII. Whoop, there it is. Isn't that fun?
No. Yeah, I was actually paying, man.
I mean, it was kind of
Free.
Watch this. If you thought that one was fun, watch this.
I'm gonna be sleeping when I get home.
Let's find all 7 angles. Yeah, this is amazingly fun. Give me a number. 1 through 7.
7.
You pick a hard to stand number. Give me a number.
5.
8, 2,
10.
6.
Oh, you said
3.
5.
3. Clip, what is 3?
that's what you get.
Give me a number that you can tell me the answer to.
No, we got something like complicated.
Just tell me the answer. What is the, if this one, I know that that one is 100 degrees.
So 3 is 100.
Very good, Cliff. 3 is 100 degrees. Tell me how how you knew that 3 was 100 degrees?
Because it's supplementary.
Because Alan told him. And the reason Alan knew is because, look, do y'all see like the butterfly wings? Y'all with me? You hold your head, cattywampus? The butterfly wings?
Which means 180.
Okay, now, tell me about angle 1.
80.
Perfect. Angle 1 is 80 degrees.
Yeah.
Look at just those two. Now come over here. Do you see that that was 100? Do you agree that 100 and that one make a straight line?
Yes.
So what should those two add up to be? 180, which means that one has to be 80 degrees, because they're supplementary, they make a straight line. Y'all with me? So, what do we know about him and him?
They're the same.
They're the same because they're vertical. Vertical. Butterfly wings. We cool? Now, once you do one intersection, watch this. Move that down the road. Look where angle 1 is. Oops. Look where angle 1 is in the same location as angle 5. So angle 1 is in the same spot as angle 5. So angle 1 and angle 5 are the same.
80.
What's angle 4 going to be?
100.
Angle 4 is going to be the 100. What's angle 2 going to be? The same as angle,
5.
angle 2 is going to be the same as angle 6. And angle 7 is going to be the same as angle.
30.
How stinking easy. Alright, let's talk about areas for a second. A lot of y'all said area, perimeter, circumference, units. On your formula sheet, let me find it. I opened it somewhere. I know I opened it. Let me open it again. Open. There it is. Okay, on your formula sheet, right here, all those formulas. All right, perimeter. Your units for perimeter are plane. Perimeter, plane units. So your units are inches, feet, yards, miles. They're just plane units. Inches, feet, yards, miles, plane units, perimeter, plane. Area, inches squared, feet squared, yards squared, miles squared. Area is like the area rug, your area on your floor. Y'all, if you go in your kitchen, you have square tiles. Square, area, square. Then you come down to volume. Volume, different color. Volume is cubed. So I put them in order. No, second, and third. So no units or plane units to the second power to the third power. So they're in order on that sheet. Now, perimeter is when you add up all the sides. So if you're doing the fence on your backyard, you add up all the sides. That's the distance around something. The fence in your yard, the picture frame, that's the perimeter. The area is the distance inside, like how much grass do you have? How much is right here, that's the area. Volume is how much liquid does it hold. Now, y'all, even though I gave you these formulas right over here, don't use those formulas right there. They're going to get you in trouble. I only put them there because Alex gave them to you. Use these that are up close and personal. Okay? Now, you need to know what the letters mean. B stands for the base. The base is what it sits on. So if I give you a triangle, your triangle may look like that, it may look like that, or it may look like that. Your base is the bottom. It's what it sits on. The butt. Your H is the height. And remember I told you, do not measure your height like this. You'll be 7 feet tall.